Hey. Welcome back to another episode of the Top Pod, the Amazing Podcast. My name's Michael Riley from OHmazing.com. I'm here with my co-host,
Jonathan Daniele, or JD from LFG Media Group.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, buddy.
And we're here to talk revenue. We talk about how to build revenue one episode at a time. This we got a little bit of an interesting episode, but I think it's going to be enlightening because we're talking about entrepreneurial myths. And
The things that stop us from making our own revenue.
Right. The things that stop us from making our own revenue, and some of them correlate. We'd read an article a little bit earlier. We're talking about is how does it fit completely into this, and how does it not? And the reality is, a lot of it does impact how we approach revenue, but some of the things that we've discovered that is a little bit outside of it. But how do we get into business or entrepreneurial, the myths that kind of unfold from them? So thank you so much for shooting that article over to me that we got a chance to read over, and it was enlightening. But another a beautiful episode here in Boca Raton at the Podcast Junkies episode. We got Christian on the ones and twos.
Ooh.
Yeah. And
the future entrepreneur of America, Christian.
Right. Our protege.
He's going to be a boxer.
Right. Our protege.
Be our bodyguard.
Right. Or a trainer. Hit him up on Instagram. His handle is @something. But in any case,
damn, you did Christian dirty, man.
But listen. We'll put his stuff in the show notes, but check it out. If you haven't already, give us a like, follow, subscribe. All the support is greatly appreciated. I'm looking into the wrong camera. I'm still a little out of the loop, but you know what? Had a bit of a week, but you know what? The revenue doesn't stop, man. We've got
when them kids are puking, it doesn't stop.
We got to keep it going, brother. So, let's dive right in, because I thought it was very interesting, and it kind of goes into our first season that we had, and how we're envisioning, how the second season has been, right? And I think it's going well, but I like going back to the basics of, what are some of the things that we can dispel that will help. So we'll jump right in. Let's go down the list. You guys a list prepped. I'll let you tee us up.
Did my homework.
Yeah.
Got it out, typed up here, spell checked, and all that good stuff.
Right. That's very important.
Yeah.
I mean, spell check for a visual and audio medium. It's I appreciate that. Hopefully, it's grammatically correct as well.
Well, I wrote it, so it's probably going to be fine.
If
you wrote it.
There?
Definitely something going to be missing from there.
There?
Yeah.
With a, they are?
It's spelled every which way.
Oh.
THYEIR.
Okay.
Yeah, you knock them all out.
All right. Well, let's get it going, man. So.
Yeah, I mean, one of the myths, that held me back, and, probably a lot of people still believe in their heads that haven't started is, that you need a ton of money to start a business. And that's actually not true. I mean, unless you're in selling stuff, like selling widgets and stuff like that, and you need inventory, maybe. But as a whole, I mean, I started LFG Media Group I had pretty much no money that I took out of my own pocket when I started it.
That's hilarious that you've been hanging out with me too long.
What's that?
Because whenever I use an example of, hey, do we sell cogs or widgets?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're marketing widgets.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, it's where do you, there's a few different terms there that, some people may encounter. And you know what? This can even apply on how do I, from a revenue standpoint, how do I launch a new line of business, right? So how do we launch, and we can go into how we launched our venture too. So I'll tell you how I grew mine. I quote unquote bootstrapped it, right? And so, to bootstrap something is where you go in it with no money, right? and a lot of times, to start a company, you start off consulting, and doing it as a little side gig or something.
A little side hustle.
Yeah.
Yep.
But even if you have product base, I've seen other people do drop shipping and stuff like that. It was a very hot topic. I'm sure everybody's been
$1 billion a month on Amazon.
Oh my God!
Follow me. Buy this course.
I made $60,000. Yeah, I made $60,000 last night while I was sleeping.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
Right.
You know?
But
No, not you. I mean, like, I love like some of the stuff I see on social media. Like, buy my course. You know, I'm doing all this revenue in every single week on Amazon. It's like, shut up. No, you're not.
right, so is 1,000 other people.
Yeah, there's like one person that might be absolutely crushing it like that, but
Yeah,
it
and
isn't that.
somebody did, and they're you know the margin to
It's like
enter that
crypto. Became a billionaire crypto. Yeah, you're the one guy.
yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on when you bought in, right? But I mean, even if you bought in it without getting too sidetracked, even if you bought in at 2018, where people are looking and being like, "Oh my God, it's at 20K,"
Yeah.
you know, oh, there's no money to be made on it, you know.
Yeah. Actually, I shouldn't talk crap on crypto.
Well, yeah, you would only 3x your money by in 6 years, so not a big deal, right?
No big deal.
Yeah, but I digress. Going down to drop to me, and this is outside of it. I would say if you are manufacturing something, then you are going to need a little bit of some sort of
that's harder.
capital. But you can also partner with some of these manufacturing firms. In fact, if you follow Podcast Junkies, they have a great manufacturing podcast. I don't know the name of it, but the what? The Gun Show.
Ooh.
Yeah, the Gun Show.
I like that.
Shout out to the Gun Show. Right, they're doing big things. I know they. It's a popular podcast, but they interview different manufacturers down here. And I'm
That's
sure
pretty cool.
if you work with another business owner who I mean, you're always selling, right? We're always pitching. We're
right.
looking how to generate some revenue. I would encourage you to reach out to them. That would be a resource that I would be looking at if I was looking to do some sort of manufacturing, because I think drop shipping or selling somebody else's crap, physical crap. Is without having an inventory. Maybe the days are, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but to me,
we could talk on what we know.
right.
We don't do the drop. Well, actually, you actually did.
But I do
So,
some of it
you
with.
do some. Sorry. So
Well, I do.
I
Well, I'll tell you how we
back.
drop ship. But it's from a standpoint from our perspective is. Because we're IT vendors, they have distributors. So there's different levels of it, right? So I can go with the distributor, and a distributor gets stuff at an extra low level, and then but the contract that they have with the companies that manufacture it is they can't sell it direct to public. So they get an extra rate in which they distribute it out to people who then resell their stuff in like a storefront or something traditional. So a lot of times when people are buying or expanding or they're setting up new spaces, they need hardware, switches, firewall, stuff like that. But I'll be honest with you, that's not what, I don't want to be a hardware vendor.
No.
We kind of do it as a service. And the way that we went about doing that, if you are, I would encourage you to develop a relationship with a distributor. Many of them have finance departments which offer lines of credit for you to get established. So that's one way to do it with manufacturing. The other way I did it was bootstrap, and then later on I did get a loan.
Yeah, I got an SBA loan.
Yeah,
I got a 100K SBA loan for 100K. I missed the whole COVID loan thing by probably 6 months.
Right.
But the one
Free
of the
money?
No, it wasn't free. I wish.
No,
I got I'm getting smoked right now on interest rates. I'm trying to it's a 10-year loan. Paid back half of it in actually my first 2 years in business because it's prime plus the rate is like prime plus
2%.
Yeah, something
2%.
Yeah, it's like over 11% right now. It's basically like loan sharking.
Right.
So my goal is any extra money I have is I'm dumping it into that to pay that down first.
Right.
But that loan got me going.
Right.
I mean, there was a bunch of money I needed for this website that we built, and for SEO and backlinks and all this stuff that I had to buy that I didn't want to ask people for money. I didn't really know how to pitch people because I wasn't even sure of my whole direction yet of LFG Media Group. I was just like, I just gotten clipped from a job and I was like, I have to figure this out. And,
Right.
And I have good credit, thank God.
Right.
And I was able to get that loan pretty easily and it gave me breathing room. And then the revenue started coming in. I got that first client. The very first client I got was like a godsend because then all of a sudden now I'm positive.
Right.
I wasn't like negative every month.
Right.
So actually that's not true. I was negative for like the first, I think 6-7 months.
Yeah. No.
What am I talking about?
It's a tough spot to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, been there.
Yeah,
you know?
it's definitely hard.
Yeah,
But Jesus, it's worth it.
yeah, it's hard to. I mean, that's part of being an entrepreneur is being willing to be like, yep, losing money this month.
Yeah.
This is there's a finite amount of time in which this run rate's going to happen, and you gotta.
I just started taking a check like last month.
Mm,
You know, I just started paying myself after almost 2 years in business.
congratulations.
Yeah, crushing it.
How did you?
40K salary, man.
You know what? Well, and let's be honest. Like, why are you taking a salary there?
Well, because I'm
Tax.
an S corp, and I have to
Yeah, taxes.
taxes.
Okay.
Yeah. Uncle Sam.
Yeah. Let's be honest. Like, why are we taking a 40K salary and not like?
Well, I mean, we don't need to go too far down the rabbit hole, but yeah, taxes, and then also if you want to contribute to a solo 401k,
Right.
you have to take out a certain amount of money.
Right.
You pay yourself a certain amount of money to be able to contribute to that tax-free each year. So
Understood.
that's another thing. But you know, the whole thing with being an entrepreneur and like getting started is, you know, another thing that I've heard a lot once I got going. Well, and this goes into the next myth is, you know, I hear from, I'm not going to say their name, but a family member of mine says it to me all the time. Do you ever work?
Oh, I get that all the time.
Oh, shit pisses me
Yeah,
off.
it doesn't. Does it? Oh well, I have a real job.
Yeah. Like,
Excuse.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, well, yeah. I only work constantly. I was thinking about this the other day. You know, because going into revenue, you know, going into revenue in like different ways. I'm always consistently looking at different businesses and how. I wish I could kind of turn it off. I was trying to thinking about like, why can't I just enjoy life and just enjoy life? And like,
You're not enjoying life?
Well, I do enjoy life, but like, I can't go to something and not think about the financials behind it. Like, how did they? Like, how do they?
Ruined.
I know.
Yeah, you're ruined.
Yeah. It's like, how does this work? Oh, well, they could do this a little bit better, and like, you know.
Isn't that the way it is too when you work for somebody else? Your manager is always an idiot. The higher ups don't know what the hell they're doing. You know, and that's the way I always felt like, I could do a better job. You know?
Right.
And then you get on your own and you're like, oh crap, now I get it.
You know,
It's not that easy.
the,
It's not that hard either.
when I'm at my very best,
When you're sleeping.
which is when I'm sleeping. This is factually correct. But I try to do it now, even whenever I'm dealing with other people. I try to tell myself, you know what? It's easy for me to throw rocks and like to be critical of something whenever I'm not actually in that position.
Yeah.
So I'm confident there's stuff that I do not see that is impacting the why this is the way it is. And almost invariably, there is. Now, could that be better or be done differently? Probably, you know, but if I don't know, I don't know. So it's hard for me to tell, you know, so it helps me to be able to pull back and be like, all right, well, you know, maybe there's something here.
Yes, I feel like we're always just figuring it out.
Right.
Like we never know. No one ever knows everything.
Right.
You know, and that's everything we do is. I feel like we're always figuring it out, and I think that's what makes a good entrepreneur is somebody that has the fortitude to deal with like the setbacks and just keep moving forward. And like, there's no other choice. Like failure, that, you know, they say the failure is not an option. Well, yeah, I mean, it definitely is, because this isn't my first digital marketing company that I tried.
Right.
You know, I've tried it before and I wasn't good at it.
Right.
And I was just too soon.
Right.
You know?
We weren't in the mindset to do so. But before we go into that, you know,
I'm not going to get into the next one. No, you know, the whole "do you ever work" thing.
Oh,
because so I used to like post pictures. Like I would go on Friday mornings. I would go fishing every Friday. I did this for like a year, and I would get oh, it must be nice. Oh, do you ever work? Like what? And it drive me crazy because like you don't see me working till 12 o'clock at night. You don't see me getting up at 5:30 in the morning. You don't see me the other 6 days and the sacrifices that are made. God forbid I go out in the morning and that I'm back in the office by noon, and I got to hear about, it must be nice. Yeah, goddamn right, it's nice.
Yeah.
I get to work whenever I want.
Yeah, well, you know
which is more than you.
Well, I appreciate.
Probably.
Well, a testament. Like the other day, I was like, man, this guy may work more than I do, because like he's casually working on campaign verbiage at 10:45 at night. Hey, what do you think about this? Or I uploaded comment. Like, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's
I appreciate that.
my best work sometimes is late at night because my kids are sleeping, wife's in bed, and nobody's calling my phone. Nobody's
Right.
texting me except for maybe you.
Yeah, but you got to be a maniac to be able. You know what? This is when I want. But you have to have that mindset.
Yeah, you got to. But you got to understand too. I absolutely love what I do. Like it doesn't feel like work to me.
Right.
I love crafting. I love crafting campaigns. I love building stuff. Like I get bored when everything is up and running.
Right.
That's when I'm like, all right, what's next?
This super build phase, right?
Yeah.
And going into, let's take that back just a step, because we talked about raising funds and then like, do you ever work? It's like whenever we're forming this new entity, Amazing Revenue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've been building and been launching on it. How did we fund it? We bootstrapped it basically we had a client.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I took us way off.
No, it's good because like we had a client,
ADD.
but we started partnering together. And if you guys want if you guys haven't listened to our episode of like what makes a good partner, check that out. But this is same thing. You're building in the entrepreneur. You can be the entrepreneur in your own business, working for somebody else. If you have a budget and a team and a mission, then you have creative freedom to build and do what you need to do within the confines of what the company, employee company handbook or whatever you've been designated. Then you are effectively an entrepreneur, right? And so your job is to make this work, right? I don't care how it works. In fact, I want you to do it better than what the person who delegated it to you envisioned. That's the dream goal, right? And so if you're that person listening and like, how can I build or, add revenue to it? Start looking at different ways or different products or divisions that kind of align with that, which is revenue, which is we talked about like how that formation happened. And so do you ever work? Yeah, it's been a delicate balancing process between the two of us. Like, hey, we break up different sections of the work that we need to do, and throw it on the board, and we start knocking it out. And honestly, my if you're partnered with somebody, or and they have a team in which they delegate to, you need to just have the faith that they're going to get the shit done, get it done. And if you don't have that person, that's a bare minimum.
Yeah.
The bare minimum in that is like, hey, the person is not lazy.
Yeah.
You don't have to is going to be doing like you don't have to wonder. I wonder if he's going to actually do it. Does he feel like doing it today?
I hope nobody ever says that about me.
Well, I don't.
I know you don't, but I'm saying I hope nobody ever says that about me.
Yeah.
Actually, who cares if they do? That means they're not my partner.
Right. Right. Well, it's we had a little bit of a tift, but it kind of comes back to it. It's like, hey, well, we launched something, and then it's like knowing how to work with other people. And it's like, hey, well, it's got to be up and running. And it's like, JD, we need to dial it back a second. I know you told that it needs to be done, and it will be done, but you've got to trust that like we're doing it in a manner. And when I tell you we're going to, and it's all about like when I tell you it's going to be ready, it's going to be ready, and you got to have a nice checks and balances and just expect that the other person, because I personally don't deal well with like someone who, if you think that if you
Pressure.
I don't deal well with pressure. It kind of dials back to like, you don't have to tell me work harder. Like, hey, I need this to be done. You don't need to dial me up. What's the update? Like, I don't need the anger, because like I can promise you I already give a fuck. I already care more than that. You cannot possibly make me care more, And so that's kind of dials in with, do you work hard?
Yeah.
Do you? And I would say if you don't work hard, you're not an entrepreneur.
No, you're an employee.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with being an employee.
There's nothing wrong with it.
But,
no.
It's like...
I mean, I would have been an employee for the rest of my life if my hand wasn't forced. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I always had like that, that in the back of my head. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My dad was an entrepreneur, my uncle, my grandfather. So it was like all the men around me were entrepreneurs. So it was always in my mind. But I just honestly never really believed in myself.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know how to do that. I don't have the money to start the business. I don't have the skills. I don't have this. I don't have that. And I told myself all these lies, and some of those are the myths that once I started going into business, I was like, you don't need a lot of money. You don't need this crazy business plan. You don't need this. You don't need that.
Right.
You just need to be able to outwork the next guy.
100%.
Or a girl.
That 100%, because like any successful business, there's unless you're like one of these like weirdo like unicorn like AI. AI is easy, right? Because it's brand new.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you're starting an AI company or machine learning company in 2012, you're first to market basically.
Yeah, you're rich.
You're but how does that company get, like, where's the ambition to do something that's never been done before? You got to be able to work hard. Because, like, if you're not, you're never going to, like, so whenever someone comes to me with an idea, I don't give a crap about your idea. I really don't. And you ask any, like, real VC, and I'm not a VC, but if you go to a venture capitalist, right, there's another way to generate money. But you need to, like...
You need to have a banging business plan and
you need to be prepped, because if you ain't prepped, they ain't going to give you cash, right? No way in hell. So, you ask any good VC or hey, I signed my NDA, I want you to hear my thing, and like nobody gives a crap about that. Like I care about like your ability to execute on the idea, and if you have a great idea, that's fantastic. But it's just that it's nothing. It's vaporware. You know?
It's a lot of great ideas out there and a lot of poor execution.
Yeah, or a lot of non-execution, no ability to execute on it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, a bare minimum, and it's just people that just don't understand. It's kind of the same thing whenever people look back on it and be like, oh, well, the CEO makes all the money. Like, I can tell you, CEO does, like, especially at the beginning, the CEO makes a lot of money once you get to a point to where it's like there's so much work and so much risk involved into getting to where it got to where the CEO is making money, then yeah, he made some money, sure. But like I can promise you, it wasn't light. And it's not for the faint of heart. And if people think that like, hey, I'm going to jump on that and do that, you may want to second guess and get used to that failure.
I think that's part of why I failed the first couple of times I tried to like break out on my own is because I certainly didn't have a whole lot of money in the bank. I didn't really, I wasn't fully committed to building whatever the thing was at the time, which, was a digital marketing company. This was 9 years ago. I didn't really know a whole lot about it, but I wanted to, and I had a good mentor teaching me some things. But I needed my job. So I was working at my job. I was like very half in on it. And I just didn't have the, what do you say? I just didn't have the ability to put a whole bunch of time and energy into it, or I wasn't willing, I should say. I wasn't willing to do those 12 a.m., 1 a.m. nights after my job.
Yeah.
And so that's all it was. It was a side hustle that fizzled out.
Right.
And it was over.
Right.
And I think like that's super important is getting to that point and knowing my side hustle is now something that can actually, like if I feed it and water it, like it'll grow into something I need it to grow into. And that like jumping off point, that pivot point is scary as hell, but Jesus, it's liberating when you take it. And it works.
Yeah. And the fear, that's to me, the defining characteristic of an entrepreneur is courage, right? It's like, and
or ignorance.
Yeah, or
I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, or ignorance, or almost like a persistence. Maybe it's not courage. Courage is one of them, but like persistence, right? You need to be used to failing. Love it. Love failing. Because like here's the reality of it: you're gonna fail, right?
Maybe not the whole business, but certain things in the business will fail.
Yeah, like isn't that that's the next one?
Failure is not an option.
Yeah, failure is totally an option.
It is, and most people, at least that I know anyway, didn't just knock it out of the park on their first shot.
No.
And certainly, I didn't, as I just kind of shared, and why it was a failure. I think with those. This sounds so cliche, but there's no, like, as long as you're learning something from the failures and you know why it failed or have a good idea, then you know what to do better next time.
I've got a perfect example of a failure. that wasn't a failure, that isn't a failure now, right? At the time, it was a failure. So a couple of years ago, Amazing Tech is a managed service provider, right? So we do outsourced IT. Another portion of it is Microsoft Dynamics development, right? And so what Microsoft Dynamics is, it's CRM. So we were big.
What's the CRM?
Excellent question. Customer relationship management software, right?
What's that?
And so it's where people put data about the people and the companies that they work with. So that way they have a store. It's basically a database to where you store data about the people and the places that you sell to, and also the sales process. So that way you can work as a team. So a lot of times organizations start off with like Excel. And where they're like, hey, this is a person I'm talking to. This is what I'm pitching. This is how much money it's going to be. And then you go into, you grow, and you start making a little bit of money. Then you hire somebody, and then you grow. You start scaling it up to where now all of a sudden you have 10 people working off at one Excel sheet, and we're keeping track of new opportunities to make revenue, right?
Then that's when you need a CRM.
That's when you need to start considering a CRM, so that way when someone goes on vacation or something happens to the workbook, or you start defining a process, which is key. And a process being like, we talked about it like going onto a car lot to buy a car a couple episodes ago, right? There's a defined process there. So you want to be able to have something that way you can track. And the more you track something, the more you can improve on it. So you'd be like, hey, where are we, because eventually you're going to have a team of 10 people and be like, all right, so we made $100K in revenue this past month, and we get for the past, 12 months, but it's been static. Where in my sales process are people being like, you know what, nah, it's not for me, right? And so what can we do to change that, to flip it up a percentage point or two? So that whenever you start having a process, that's when you can start improving on it. In order to do that, you need to be able to track metrics, and that's where CRM is going to take your business to the next level.
It's like the meeting I'm having after this.
Right.
It's like with my partner in LFG Media Group.
Okay.
He's great with the accounting and P&Ls and all that stuff.
Right.
And, we have all this revenue coming in, and I'm just focused on sell, like get all the revenue coming in, and then it's like, I have the accounting software puts it all together, but I'm just like, I don't know.
What am I looking at?
Yeah, like I don't even know. I've just been so focused on selling.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's like asking me questions. I'm like, we have money in the bank.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
growing.
I don't know, man. I know that like my job is to make sure money comes in, and it comes in.
Yeah.
So
he'll tell me today what I'm doing wrong, I'm sure.
Well,
or well, you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
like, hey, like this is what we're projected. Because the way I look at it is everybody's paid, the bank account's growing. I don't really care about taking money out of the business right now. All I care about is just growing it exponentially over the next couple of years.
Yep. And
that's all I care about.
So going back to this, so we established what a CRM
tell
is.
us about your failure.
The failure is, and the idea was, let's develop. So some of our clients had it, and they were they need help with it because each business is unique, needs to be customized, and so one of the benefits of Dynamics is we can develop an instance and get people off of Excel into a CRM and be able to use it, because the downfalls of CRM is it's clunky. People resist it because they don't want to put information into it, because the CRM's only as good as the data you put into it.
And a lot of sales teams fight it.
They fight it. And a good implementer is going to put it into position to where it makes their lives easier, and also gives the management the numbers and the information back on what they can do to improve on it. But long story short, we spent about $100K investing into this product to where we're going to develop it, and hey, we're going to do a jumpstart deploy. And
I remember that.
And it's actually a functional product. There's other organizations, consulting partners around the world that offer something like that, but basically ours is hey, go 0 to live with Microsoft Dynamics in 1 week. So we install everything, we get it configured.
I didn't know you put $100,000 into that.
Yeah, $100K in development and marketing. So it's like, but it's each cell is $10K, right? And then we also get like licenses and stuff like that. So here's the catch, though. It failed basically because it was an investment that we haven't gotten the return on it that we would like to. We've gotten some return, but here's the catch. You never threw it away. So remember all that work and that information and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Now what are we doing with revenue?
We're using it.
We're using it,
And
right?
It's gangster.
Right. And one of the
Yeah.
things that we can do is whenever someone sells a product to us, or whenever someone buys and says, hey, I want to prospect to 750 people, right? And a month, and we can say, hey, we can touch those 750 people 3,200 times, right? And those 3,200 times are data points that we can then present to you to tell you, like, where are they buying on different measurements. But here's the catch. That app that we installed, we can actually install it in somebody else's environment. So they could just buy the process from us where we don't actually do the work for them. So they could hire us for a one-time engagement and see that jumpstart, it's still configured. So it's still sitting there. It's revenue to be, it's an
CRM
asset.
in a box.
It's an asset, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
And then like, not only that, like we know how prospecting works. We know it. We see it in our business. We have appointments set every day.
Yeah, it works.
Right? And by using that tool, that gives you the metrics and the ability to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 prospectors out. And so that deficiency or that quote unquote loss that happened 2 years ago was an L then. And it was a challenge because like you look at it and be like, how did that fail? But you know, how do you turn those lessons or that product, if you make something, don't throw it away.
Yeah, it was never meant to be for that.
Yeah, and it maybe it's still, like we still offer and have it. We haven't gotten the return on it we like. It hasn't gone anywhere though. And
Yeah,
it's still a viable product and revenue can use it. Now another client, and revenue is a whole nother company that's just going to be shipping it out.
Yeah,
So
good little product.
yeah, so cool.
All
That's the story of how to turn a loss into a win. So
An L into a W.
yeah.
Yeah, we've all got them. Well, the next one is entrepreneurs work alone. You know, you see it a lot, or I don't know, maybe you don't, but I see it a lot on, social media where like, people like entrepreneurs are talking and there's always like this air that it's all that they're the lone wolf. They're out there making moves and everything is because of them. And, these CEOs are everything and they work alone. So that's completely false, or at least in my experience. That might be for some people, but for me, I'm constantly like talking to you. I talk to my partner. I talk to our employees. Without our team, like LFG is nothing.
Right.
Without our team, with Amazing Revenue, that company's nothing.
Right.
Without our data guys and without our salespeople, and you need people around you, and you have to listen to the people around you too. Maybe you don't have to take the advice of everybody, but you have to at least have, good people in your corner if you can.
I think you said it best earlier. Like, what are you not good at? You just went over it, the accounting.
Oh yeah, it's not that I'm not good at it.
Well,
I hate it.
That's fine. Well, you're probably not the best at it.
No, definitely not. I'm good at marketing.
Right.
Yeah,
that's like, I mean, it's like
Selling.
not to like, whoa, bro, let's not get so defensive. We're
don't
just
be-
having a
well,
conversation
you
here,
take
right?
shots at me.
All right.
I'm a numbers guy.
But I'm not, right? And it's
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I'm good.
You're not a marketing guy. Actually, we've turned you to the dark side. You are no longer a tech squeeb. You got a marketing frame in you now, boy.
I love marketing. I've reinvented
You're like this
myself.
incognito Cinderella marketing story.
I
This guy
love
from
marketing.
banging a keyboard, being in dark rooms at 2:00 in the morning with Monster energy drinks.
Your Active Directory.
Yeah, so now he's like, we're selling shit. Yeah.
Now I'm still doing that. Like I do the dorky side of it, but like still which is the side that I like. I just, does the money go in the account? Yes. Okay. That's good.
Back to banging on the keyboard.
Back to banging on the keyboard. Let me build up that. Let me build up the prep. No, but I agree with you. A good team is like, they should, especially your direct reports, right? I mean,
You got a little bug flying around
yeah,
over there?
I saw. Yeah, Christian was saying it's a mosquito. I mean, I don't know what's going on with the
Got
the
some
podcast.
skeeters in here, Christian?
Yeah, the podcast
What are we looking up? see
Junkie
those?
Studio.
Oh, one skeeter?
Yeah, but
It's a fat one, too. That thing needs to be smoked.
but no, it's the team that you have around you, and it's if you have direct reports, you got to learn how to delegate as an IT, and I go back to IT, right? So as an IT manager, because I get manage an IT team. Give me a team of architects, engineers, help desk guys, level 3 to level 1, whatever, and everything in between, right? Your highest level guy, if you have an architect that you're more technical than them, you should probably fire him.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like a highest enlisted soldier, you know, versus like the lowest officer in the army. I mean, you probably they report to you, but it's your basketball team, man. Like if you got your point guard playing, you know, as a center role, you know, you may be miscasting them. Maybe it's not them. Maybe it's you. You know,
Maybe. That's the hardest part is building the team.
Good
Well, maybe
help's
not
hard
the
to
hardest
find.
part, but it's definitely.
Oh my God, good help's hard to find.
Yeah. Well, and
Amazing
we
talent
hit on
can
this
help
last
find
time we
that,
talked,
right?
and finding people that are all about it, like
Right.
that. I hate to say drink the Kool-Aid because it makes it sound like you're brainwashing people, but I mean like
Well,
people that
Gen
are
Z don't love that. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, what do you mean? You know, you got to go the extra miles. No, just like,
no, just like believe in the mission, man.
yeah.
If you don't believe in it, then that's
yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
but
that's fine. Go work for, you know, some mega corporation that doesn't need you. Because like right now, our
I hope we
organization.
never end up like that.
Well, I don't.
Honestly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, our organizations, it's like, you know, you look at it and we're like, hey, we're a small team. If you don't care, I'm sorry. I'll have room for you.
Yeah, with a small team, if one person isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing or they're not into it, it definitely it screws everything up.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's having the right, you know, one of the challenges that I found with me, it's especially with like developers, right? Jam developers, right? Know what they're doing, you know, for the role that they're at, they're good at what they do. They're good at developing. But sometimes, you got to be like, and it's my job as the leader to say, hey, why are we doing this? Seriously, you know, we had this conversation earlier because we're launching some stuff. We're launching Amazing Revenues going full prod, right? So fully to production, right? So we've got, you know, we got our CRM, we got everything lined up. We're starting to dialing, everything's clicking, right? And and you guys are like, why are you guys talking? Dude, we've been working on it for like 6 months. It's hard. Like the amount of stuff that we have
Wild.
building is wild,
Yeah.
right? We have.
I can't wait until we're done building it.
It's
well,
going
actually,
to prod.
it's more on you guys than me.
Yeah, but
I'm just I'm the sales guy.
But it's going into prod, right? And part of it is it's like, you know, I talk to the guys and I'm like, all right, well, what does Amazing Revenue do? Oh, well, we take, you know, we find jobs out there that people are hiring for, and then that, you know, and then we take the data and we find the data that the people are looking for, and then we put it into channels in which we've reached out to them and we say, hey, can we source that job? I was like, that is not what Amazing Revenue does. That's not what Amazing Revenue does. That's what you do, right?
Yep.
But that's not what the company does. The company as itself goes out and asks people if they want to buy your product. People buy the services in which we say, hey, who do you want to talk to? We're going to reach out to them and ask them who you want to talk to.
Who's your ideal client?
Who's your ideal client?
We will find them and we will market to them.
And then we find the best people to talk to, and we put it into email, LinkedIn, SMS, and phone calls, right? And we also do ringless voice drops, but we go through manner of different channels in which we talk to people. We have a company that buys from us called Amazing Talent, which is a recruiting service where we scrape jobs. That's one client though. That's the Amazing Revenue does that. So, and it helps with, and the reason why I'm talking about it is it helps for the developer because sometimes they get so siloed into doing something and copy and paste and be like, bro,
you forget the mission.
Well, they do something and they're like, I don't know how to do it. It's not working. I'm like, I need you guys to take a step back and think about like, what am I doing here? And what have I been asked to do? And if it's not correlating with it, think about it because you're hired here for your brain and your ideas, right? Because like I can hire, you can hire or automate away the process, right? But the true goal is what can we do better in this endeavor? And if you guys aren't doing that, then that's fine. You're not going to hit the natural places to where you're going to be at, but where we're at as a whole, and these guys are.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying that like that's one of the challenges of getting the most, because like you need to have, but on the flip side, totally better than me at data, and I
Well,
need them to be.
well, let's say this. Let's say you are an entrepreneur getting started.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have, another friend or other entrepreneurs that you know. You don't really have anybody to talk to, and this does happen a lot. Besides, like solo entrepreneurs that maybe have one employee, two employees, and they're just kind of on an island alone.
Okay.
What would you suggest that they do, or to? I know you're part of these mastermind groups.
Right.
Tell us about that.
Well, mastermind groups are good in a niche area. And when I say niche, so I'm a managed service provider. Even as a best friend, as an entrepreneur, prior to us getting into business about revenue, right? Because me and you both know revenue. But from an amazing tech standpoint, it doesn't matter. We have a different business model. We have a subscription-based business model. You have a digital marketing agency where you do digital marketing stuff, right? It's just different businesses.
What do I do?
It's a DMA.
You don't know what I do.
No, no.
You're like you're online.
Well, you're a
wizard.
you're a
messing with
marketing agency.
I'm just messing with
Yeah.
you.
And so, but to be clear, it's two separate things. So it doesn't matter. Like, I can call you up and be like, man, what do I do here? Because I don't really. The truth of the matter is, and it goes back to the fear or the courage to fail, right? Is like you have to make some sort of decisions on certain things, and oftentimes there isn't really a right answer.
No, that's a lot of time. Yeah.
And the right answer is, I don't know, make the best answer at the time, gather some metrics on it, and see if you mess it up. And if you mess it up, go back and try something else. And that's where a mastermind group has helped me because, like, I look at them, because managed service providers is almost like an electrician. So, like, it's not a unique field. So there's thousands of electricians, businesses across the organization or across America. And so some of them have more revenue than mine, and that's fine. They've been around for longer. We were started circa 2018. Some of these people are circa 2009, right? Of course, they should be bigger, right? But you can learn on some of the things that they've done, or you can ask them questions. What would you do here? And they might be able to give you a better answer. But you always...
Because they've made the mistakes already.
I mean, you want to know as a personal life where you want to be where are you going to be in 5 years? What do? You look at the people that you hang around, right? And if you're hanging around people who aren't doing much with their lives, chances are you probably aren't. But if you're hanging out with people who are investing in themselves and into their business and their organization are growing and being prosperous, you're not guaranteed, but you're more likely to be in a position to be of that.
Yeah, I can see tremendous value from those groups. I'm not in any of them. There's one that you connected me with, who I've spoken to a couple of times. I just haven't had the time, honestly.
Right.
And I have a partner in LFG Media Group who, a very established business person that helps keep me square.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's got its place, right?
Yeah,
It's
I
like
think
everything.
I would love to be part of it.
Yeah.
It's just like a time thing right
It's
now.
and it really is a time thing. And as an entrepreneur, for people who don't work, right?
Yeah. I know. Maybe I should stop fishing once a month and do an entrepreneur group.
I mean, no, but the reality is like, where's your time being spent, right? Because we can only spend so much time, and we do need time to unwind.
Absolutely.
And if
That's tough with kids.
Oh my gosh.
Because especially me, I get done working. It's like right now I'm working out of my house. And I go downstairs and it's like, here's the kids.
Right.
I'm like, it just.
No, I know the feeling. Me, I that only happens to me half the time.
Yeah.
So
50%.
50% of the time. With that, yeah. But we both have kids around the same age, right?
Sure
and
do.
For me, it's 50% of the time. It's like, hey, I wake up, I literally start working. I take the kids to school. They work. I work all day. I get off at 5. I pick the kids up. I work until 8 until they go to bed. And by then, I'm so exhausted that I may or may not collect myself for an hour or two before I eventually pass out and then do the same thing over and over and over and over.
Do you play
again.
video games anymore?
Lightly. Yeah. That's usually in the hour or two at the end of the night.
Yeah, I get a good game in every now and then. Get a race in there.
Well, I mean,
it's big sim racing guy.
Yeah, and then I'm so exhausted after the fact. You know what? At gaming, I've kind of like fallen off a little bit because it's who wants to work or do something like challenging when you just want to disconnect.
Yeah.
I just want to
Especially when you've been staring at a screen all day.
Oh my gosh, and sitting at a PC. So, all right, let's line us up. How many more questions we got?
Just one more.
One more. That's good because we're almost at the end of this.
We kind of hit on this already though, but entrepreneurs are born, not made.
I don't think we hit on that.
Kind of when I said I would have remained an employee forever. I always kind of had the spirit in me.
What is the spirit to you?
The spirit is just knowing that you can work, knowing that you work hard, knowing that you can outwork or at least work as hard as the people you're working for me anyway. And then really being able to say to myself that I'm willing to do whatever it takes.
I think this
to succeed.
You know what's a good question?
Or to at least maybe not be. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to at least the very bare minimum, not have to work for somebody ever again.
Right.
Well, to control my own destiny, more or less.
Well, I look at it now, and it's like being an entrepreneur, and like look, because I've known you before you're an entrepreneur, and like looking at it now, to me, it's like, I wasn't ever. I don't know, man. Like the entire time now, when I know what an entrepreneur looks like, I think that. I think you were, again, more of an entrepreneurial in residence, right? So like even if you were working for someone, you had enough creative freedom or organization to do it. Now the part about the organization of residence, at the end of the day, you're not risking your own livelihood, so to speak. You're not pushing all the chips on the table. Be like, let's flop and see how it goes.
Let's flop. Floppy for it.
But what about you? Did you think I was an entrepreneur before I became an entrepreneur? I think that's a better question than me answering that.
So I remember when we lived together.
Okay.
And you brought home that freaking C++ book, and you were like, I'm sick of working at Dish. I'm gonna you were like, I'm sick of working in sales, something like that. This is what I want to learn, and you started doing it. That's when I was like, looking back now, I didn't think it at the time, but looking back now, like I'm not surprised you are where you are,
right?
Because that's what it takes. You have to be willing to learn the skills you want in order to become an entrepreneur. Like for me, I had like this God moment driving home from North Miami. I used to drive from Boynton to North Miami every day I did that for 2 years, like an hour and a half each way.
Okay.
And I'm driving home and I got like that white light incident that said, you need to learn PPC. And I was just a call center manager at the time. And so I went home and that night got a course. But
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you investing yourself.
Yeah, it was like $47.
Right.
And that's how I learned PPC, or at least that's how I learned the basics.
Right.
But you did that with C++ years before I did that. And you changed your path. So like to see you do that, that's why I was like, I want to change my path, and maybe that's why that came to me. Maybe because I saw that's what you did, but I feel like that's what entrepreneurs do.
Yeah, they take something in, but
and you read a ton of books too.
Yeah,
it's like
I read a lot.
Plug the hell out of Hormozy.
Yeah, love me or some Hormozy.
Yeah, no, he's great.
Yeah, he's like but he's very controversial, because there's a whole subreddit. They think he's a lunatic.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. But most entrepreneurs are.
Yeah, it's like, but it's like, if you're an entrepreneur.
He's definitely a lunatic.
Well,
I love him. He's great to watch.
Yeah, he says stuff that's like, it's controversial. Am I going to have to work? Do I need to, am I going to have to sacrifice some of the things? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to tell you this.
Yeah, no, you can't.
And it's like, people are like, oh, he's like, I shouldn't be able. Well, then here's the thing, bro. You're not an entrepreneur, and that's okay. It's not for I wouldn't recommend it to a lot of people, to be honest with you, because like
it's freaking not stressful.
It's not It's not for the faint of heart, bro. Like Christian, God bless his soul. I don't know if he's going to make it. I don't know if he's got the gusto.
Oh, come on, man. No,
I'm playing.
Christian definitely can do it.
Yeah, no, but it's it's something that like you have to. It can start with school. It can start with now that I know what I know, like what does a degree mean to you? It means you can start something and finish it. Like you may or may not get a tangible skill set in the interim. A lot of people don't use their skill set, but I think
the biggest skill set people get from going to college is their connections they make in college.
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It depends. Like
I'm not trying to I don't want to deter
maybe,
anybody from going. Like I would never say this to my kids. God, hopefully they're past college if they ever watch this. But I am not a firm believer now that college is the best route to go.
Well, it's not. But some places it is. I mean, like
the connections you make though there, like I made some pretty cool connections while I was there, and I wasn't there long, but like if I had stayed there the whole time, I would probably have a lot more connections than what I have now.
Right, but let me ask you this: so is college useless for your wife, who is a nurse? It's a requirement.
Well, that's different.
It depends. It depends on the.
You're right.
You're right. You know what I'm
if
saying?
If you're going for a liberal arts degree, I mean, save your money. You go to community college on Uncle Sam's dime.
Yeah, I mean, you can.
I'm going to learn about.
Not political.
Actually, no, I'm not doing it. I'm
not doing this, bro. It's like I gotta
never
cut
mind.
that out. No,
yep.
No,
I'm not gonna go there. It's too heated out there. I'm not trying to get rocks thrown at me.
The political landscape, but you're right. You do meet connections. People buy on relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So, all in all, it's excuse me. It's an investment that you do, and you may or may not get something out of it. But when I look at a degree, that's what I think about whenever I see it on a resume. So,
yeah, honestly, I've hired people with
masters. I've hired people with masters, and I'm like, you are the worst.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. It's just
I would.
There's
think a couple people that I don't know.
No, I've dealt with clients that. They're not my clients anymore, so I can speak freely on this. That like I have a master's in business. I know our master's in I have this. I know that, and I'm like, dude, you have no idea what you're doing. That's why we're on the phone right now. Well, I know. It's like you can't. Like if you tell me one more time,
your glass is full.
Well, you tell me one more time you have a master's degree. It means nothing to me.
Yeah, I don't care.
It means nothing.
But your glass is full. You can't add nothing to it. So, I mean, if you can't tell them nothing, then and that's another thing. You got to be remaining. If you want to be successful at this, be afraid to fail, and also be humble enough to, and I'm definitely not calling myself humble, but like be okay.
God.
Well, what I hate it when people say, humble, but it's not like
I'm the humblest person you ever met.
I don't mean it, but
Are you?
But be right-sized enough to be like, hey, I'm going into this at an amateur level. I may have a professional skill set that I add to it, but as a line of business or presenting that as a product, I have a vast amount of money or energy or room to grow there because I am definitely not. It may fail.
I feel like the longer I'm in business, the more open I am to shutting my mouth and opening my ears.
Especially as your team gets better.
Yeah.
Like
let me get out of the way.
Yeah, let me get out of the way and have your. Well, I mean,
I'm struggling with that right now. I've just like the PPC person I hired. I need to get out of her way. I'm like, hey, I manage this project, but I find myself jumping in.
Right. It's tough.
That sucks for her. Because she's like, wait a minute, do you want me to like do this or not?
Yeah, you want me micromanage? That's why with Miranda with this, I'm like, well, what do you want me to do with the podcast? I was like, honestly, you just do you.
Yeah, Miranda's great. You let her spread her wings.
Do you, because I believe in you.
Yeah. She'll do better than what you tell her to do.
And whatever I have imagined in my IT mind,
your tiny little brain,
my tiny little brain, is definitely going to. I hope it comes short to it because I want you to be like, tell me what I don't know about it. And honestly, who wants to like that? Those make the happiest employees. Right, the ones that have or at least me, because like everybody, oh, my boss is an idiot. That's the easiest, most common statement you hear.
Yeah,
right?
I used to say it all the time. Every boss I ever had was an idiot.
Yeah, well, most were, but
at least that's
in
how
their
I felt.
own special way.
Well, Christian's yawning, so we're definitely boring the hell out of. We're dragging the end of this on.
Yeah, so let's wrap it up. Wrap it up.
You see a yawn in the room, we've lost probably 95% of the people that were listening.
That's fair. And you know what?
It's a good gauge. It's like having a bird in a mine, you know?
And limited to the first 10 people. But, if you've listened this far in the episode, say, I listened this far, and we'll send you something.
I'd love to hear from both of you.
Yeah. But with that
You're one.
Nah, Christian don't count. He's paid to do so.
Yeah, that's true.
That being said, thank you so much for this another amazing episode 5, where we talked about the entrepreneurial myths. My name is Michael Riley, once again with Amazing Tech. Please like, subscribe, share, and listen more to how we can help grow your bottom line. I'll pass it over to you, JD.
Thanks for listening, JD with LFG Media Group. Out.
See you.